Alright, welcome to another video on our Framer Motion playlist. In this particular video, we're just going to be looking at initial property, the motion component. So what exactly is the initial property? So the initial property, we could just say it's just a property provided in your motion component that lets you decide which values your motion component should start from. So you could think about it like a default style, right? Where you could say, okay, this animation should start from this particular place and animate to the next value. Perfect example could be something like saying this particular component is just going to start from opacity of 0 and animate to an opacity of 1. And the general idea is it's just going to give you like a smooth fading animation, because why? The element is just going to be hidden on the page, then it's just going to animate into the opacity of 1. Okay, so let's see an example in code. Okay, so we just have empty page here, and remember we always need our motion component, and our motion component imported from motion. Let's quickly import it. Import motion from Framer motion. Okay, then we need to make use of motion.div just for an example. Let's create on that motion here. Then this is just gonna serve as our paragraph, and here we're just gonna have dummy text. Let's format this properly. Okay, so what we just have here, just a simple div, a paragraph that holds some dummy text, right? Let's quickly preview this in our browser. We just have a dummy text, very simple, and that is it. The initial value is an available property on our motion component. We could say our initial should be an opacity of 0, and if we check our page right now, our browser, we can't see nothing. Because why? Because opacity of 0 basically means it's not going to be on the page, it's going to be hidden, and you can't see it on the page. So think about the initial property like the default style your particular element is supposed to have on the start of that particular component. We already have Tailwind CSS already set up in this particular project. We could also say opacity of 0, which works as the same thing. You come over here, you won't see anything. Because why? It works as the same property as your initial. So we are saying opacity of 0, don't show this. But in the Framer motion way, it's best advised to you make use of the initial when trying to set your default value. So let's say opacity of 0. Cool. And we could take out this one. Then we could just say this should animate to an opacity of 1. See this. Let's refresh the page. We have the smooth fade in animation. What this basically means is in the start of this element, we're not going to see it on the page. It's just going to be 0, right? And we're just going to animate to an opacity of 1. So let's show another example. So let's take out our p tag, take out our initial and our animate properties, and quickly use CSS and style this. Let's get a box of 100 pixel and a height of, let's say, 200 pixel, and a background color of something black. Yeah, and let's quickly serve this as, let's say, H screen, which is 100 view height, and also want to take it to the center of the page. Let's just justify this to center, and items to center, right? And let's see what we currently have. Just have a box. Let's something like 200. Okay, cool. Okay, so we just have a box in the center of our page which has the background color of black, right? So what we want to try to do here is we want to animate the background color of this particular box from black to, let's say, red. Yeah, okay, so let's quickly do that. So we could say initial. Remember, right, initial is just the starting of this particular box, for example. Now let's take out the background black. Remember, right? So now we say the background color of this just gonna be black. Now go over. It's the same thing, right? You have black as the background color. This particular value is set as the default value of this particular container or this particular box. So this is black, and okay, let's take out this ones too. Let's just animate everything. Let's make use of initial for the whole value instead of using Tailwind CSS classes. The width of we're going for 200, right? And an height of 100. Okay for us. Okay, let's make it 200. Okay, cool. So this is what we have here. We just have a box, same thing as what our style kind of applied on this component and the box itself. So for us to make this animation work, right, let's animate. We're gonna say animate this value, change the background color to red, format this. Okay, cool. And let's say width is just gonna be 300 and an height of 300, just to give you an example. So we are going to see how this looks like right now. Okay, cool. Let's refresh this page. Now on the start, you can see what happened here. On the start, we have a box of 200 width and 200 height. Then on animate, we get the box of red and also 300 height, 300 width. So the key takeaway from this particular video is just how you could use your initial value, set the default style for your particular container or your particular wrapper around your animation. You see how we made use of just Tailwind CSS classes, and also we could also make use of CSS classes to do this. But instead, we just made use of the initial property to handle the initial state of this animation. Now, to make this kind of look more good, let's just add some transition, which we're gonna get to in the nearest video. Let's just say an ease of, let's call this ease of ease in and ease out, right? And duration, just say duration is just gonna be 0 points, and yeah, this is how it looks like now, right? So from the initial value to our animate value, and that is how you make use of your initial value in the motion components in Framer Motion. Okay, so in the next video, we'll be looking at the animate value, the transition value in your Framer motion components, what it basically means and what it does. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.